Let's be real, no rumor in the music industry hits harder than the ones that refuse to die, especially when the names Jay-Z, Beyoncé, and Kelly Rowland are tangled in the same sentence. What started as harmless fan theories online has now turned into something darker, something that people can't just scroll past anymore. The whispers about Jay-Z being the biological father of Kelly Rowland's son Titan have moved beyond gossip. They've started bleeding into legal circles, industry talk, and late-night DMs from insiders who swear they've seen things no one else has. At first, it was the photos. Side-by-side shots of Titan and Jay-Z flooded social media. Same facial structure, same expressions, the kind of resemblance that makes you stop and stare for a second too long. People laughed it off until a few old rumors about Jay-Z's other secret children started reappearing. Suddenly, that resemblance didn't feel so funny anymore. The internet is ruthless when it smells something real. And this time, it smells blood. Now here's where it gets tricky. Jay-Z's name has already been dragged through a swamp of lawsuits, some from people claiming he's their father, others accusing him of darker things that most celebrities would never recover from. One of the most disturbing involved an alleged assault at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. The lawsuit was later withdrawn, but it left a stain that no PR team could fully scrub clean. The timing couldn't have been worse either. It hit just as Diddy's empire started collapsing under similar accusations. Suddenly, Jay-Z wasn't just a businessman or a mogul. He was another powerful man whose past was catching up to him. And while all this chaos was unfolding, Kelly Rowland did something that confused everyone. She defended him. On red carpets, in interviews, she called him one of the greatest men she knows. Fans couldn't believe it. Why would she go out of her way to praise Jay-Z while his name was being dragged through mud? Why choose that exact moment to stand by him so publicly? The internet being the internet, it didn't take long for people to connect dots that might not have been meant to connect. Suddenly, Kelly's loyalty didn't look like friendship. It looked like protection. Kelly's bond with the Carters runs deep. She's not just Beyoncé's old bandmate, she's basically family. Tina Knowles calls her a daughter. She moved in with the Knowles family as a child, grew up alongside Beyoncé, and was there for the rise of Destiny's Child. To the public, she's always been the calm one, the sweet one, the quiet presence in Beyoncé's orbit. But insiders say that kind of closeness comes with its own unspoken rules. Mainly that what happens inside that circle never leaves it. And Kelly, more than anyone, seems to have learned that silence is survival. Still, there's something unsettling about how quiet she's been about Titan's father. Unlike other celebrities who post family photos or talk about their partners, Kelly never names him, never gives details, never even hints. That silence might have felt classy once, but now it feels strategic. Every time she dodges a question, the internet fills in the blanks for her. Some say it's respect for privacy, others say it's fear of exposure. Either way, she never corrects the rumors, and that's what keeps them alive. Meanwhile, Beyoncé remains untouched. No matter what Jay-Z gets accused of, she never flinches. Her silence has become her armor. While he's fighting off allegations, she's posting visuals from her next album, flashing diamond smiles and reshaping the narrative before the headlines can settle. It's brilliant PR. Almost too brilliant, because if there's one thing Beyoncé knows, it's how to turn a crisis into art, and art into distraction. But behind that control, people can't help wondering, how long can perfection hide the truth? Jay-Z's history with paternity accusations reads like a pattern that just refuses to break. Every few years, another name surfaces, another woman claiming he's the father of her child, another plea for a DNA test, another wall of silence from his team. One of the most talked about cases came from a woman named Letitia Murr in Maryland, who insisted she was his daughter. Her relatives backed her up, saying it was common knowledge in their town. No test, no response, just another cloud of secrecy that hung over his empire. Then came Rye Satterthwaite, who spent more than a decade trying to get him to take a DNA test, dragging the case across multiple courts. Each time, the result is the same: motions to seal documents, dismissals, and silence. That silence is what makes everything feel so calculated. If Jay-Z really had nothing to hide, why not just take the test? Instead, his lawyers treat every accusation like a business deal. Contain it, bury it, move on. People close to the industry say it's not about guilt, it's about control. Jay-Z's empire isn't built on music anymore, it's built on image, influence, and access. The moment a single DNA test confirms what's been whispered for years, the illusion cracks. And once that illusion breaks, the entire Carter brand takes a hit. But here's the thing, this rumor about Titan feels different. It isn't just coming from tabloids or random gossip pages. It's being pushed by people who were once inside the circle. Background chatter from former Roc Nation employees, whispers from PR teams who've worked with Beyoncé, and quiet nods from stylists who were told to avoid personal questions around Kelly. When that many unrelated voices start echoing the same theory, it's hard not to notice the smoke. Even if you can't see the fire, Kelly's loyalty, meanwhile, feels like it's part of the system that keeps everything running smoothly. She's been protected her entire career, always relevant, always visible, yet never controversial. While other artists fade or implode, she remains polished and graceful, appearing in the right spaces at the right times. Her connection to the Carters guarantees longevity, but it also keeps her tied to whatever they're protecting. It's as if her silence buys her security, a seat at the table no matter what storms rage around them. There's also that infamous birthday dinner, the one where Kelly reportedly left in tears after a night with Beyoncé, Jay-Z, and Solange. No one knows what happened, but witnesses said the mood shifted fast. Cameras captured Kelly stepping out, eyes red, face tight. Some said it was just a disagreement among friends. Others believe it was something heavier, something that had been building for years. Since then, she's kept her head down even more, speaking only when it's safe and smiling through every headline. As for Jay-Z, he continues to reinvent himself publicly as a philosopher, a mentor, a family man who preaches legacy. He stands on award stages lecturing the industry about fairness and integrity. Even as his name keeps showing up in lawsuits and court filings, the contrast is almost cinematic. The man who built an empire on truth-telling rhymes, now refusing to tell the simplest truth of all. When fans point out the hypocrisy, defenders say he's moved past his mistakes. But how do you move past something you've never faced? The irony is that Beyoncé might be the one holding it all together. Her entire empire is built on the image of strength, loyalty, and perfection. If the truth ever came out that her husband fathered a child within her closest circle, it wouldn't just break the internet, it would fracture the foundation of everything she's built. And that's exactly why the silence stays airtight. Every rumor gets treated like a security threat. Every leak gets sealed before it spreads. It's not just about protecting love, it's about protecting a billion-dollar illusion. The internet has started to treat this story like an investigation rather than a rumor. Threads on Reddit and Twitter look like detective boards. People comparing timelines, analyzing photos, and digging through old interviews like forensic evidence. What's eerie is how much of it connects. The timelines overlap, the relationships intertwine, and every attempt by the Carters' PR machine to bury the conversation only makes it spread faster. It's no longer about who fathered whom, it's about how much power it takes to keep the truth hidden in plain sight. Jay-Z's brand has always been built on narrative control. From his early lyrics about hustling to his rebranding as a billionaire family man, he's mastered the art of rewriting his story before anyone else can. But this particular story doesn't fit the mold. You can't rap your way out of DNA. You can't trademark silence, and that's what makes the situation feel like it's slowly tightening around him. People aren't asking for apologies or explanations anymore, they're demanding receipts, proof, something that breaks through the polished surface of a man who has built his legacy on perception. Kelly's role in all this has turned into something far more complex than the media lets on. To some, she's the innocent caught in the crossfire. To others, she's part of the architecture holding everything in place. Her presence in the Carter circle feels too secure, too rehearsed. She appears at their events, their premieres, their private family moments, always glowing, always gracious, always saying just enough to seem genuine, but never enough to invite questions. It's as if she's living inside a script written by people who know exactly what the audience should and shouldn't see. Those who've worked close to Beyoncé say the Carter strategy has always been simple. Control the story or don't let it exist. The way they operate is surgical. The moment a negative headline gains traction, another one appears. A tour announcement, a charity partnership, a viral moment engineered to redirect attention. It's a well-oiled distraction machine, but as more insiders and court documents surface, the machine seems to be showing small cracks. The lawsuits are stacking up and the patterns of sealed files are becoming impossible to ignore. Silence once looked like grace, now it looks like fear. Even the public's perception of Beyoncé is shifting. For years, her untouchable aura kept her above the chaos, but with every new rumor, every quiet settlement, people are beginning to see her not as a victim of circumstance, but as a co-architect of control. Her perfection is starting to look like strategy. Her silence feels like participation. And that's dangerous, because once fans start questioning her authenticity, the illusion that kept her empire invincible begins to crumble. If the Titan rumor ever found proof, the impact would be nuclear, not just for the Carters, but for the entire narrative of modern celebrity power. It would dismantle decades of carefully curated image building. Jay-Z wouldn't just be another artist exposed by scandal, he'd be the man who let loyalty blur into deception. The mogul whose empire was built on secrets instead of transparency. And Kelly, the loyal sister figure, would become the most tragic character of all, a woman who traded her truth for belonging. The saddest part is how ordinary this story feels beneath the fame. Strip away the money, the Grammys, the bodyguards, and what's left are people trying to control pain, shame, and reputation. Maybe Kelly stays quiet because speaking up would destroy too much. Maybe Beyoncé stays composed because the truth costs more than forgiveness. Maybe Jay-Z keeps dodging DNA tests because one result could collapse everything he spent his life building. Whatever the reason, the silence has become its own confession. And until someone breaks it, every smile, every photo, every family appearance will feel like another layer of the secret they can't afford to let slip.